G'day, it's Corey McKernan here, and I'm with the Managing Director of K-Trans, very good friend of mine in Wade Jolly. For all those people, you already know him, but I'll do more the official welcome, mate. How you going?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
All good. Now, I know this also comes on the back of a pretty big month where you guys have, all of September, have been doing a number of activities where you're looking after people from a physical and mental point of view.
Yep. Just had a really powerful morning here this morning with Corey presenting to the team at our Employee of the Quarter function. September is a mental health psychosocial hazard month that we celebrate within our business, and having a lot of communication today was the culmination of that. We've recently had Are You OK Day, but to have you here today in AFL Grand Final week was a huge thrill for everyone, and a really powerful message that got shared with the team.
Now, as I spoke about, there's a lot of places around Australia, and this is for everyone in K-Trans that's out there listening, but a lot of places around Australia are nearly still paying a lot of lip service when it comes to looking after people from a physical and mental point of view. Why is it so important for you guys, like that you're doing so much in space?
Well, it's real. We all see it. We spoke today about the mental health side of things in getting the best out of our employees, but not just our employees, their families as well. We saw 16 to 25-year-olds, 44% of them have a mental health condition. That's quite confronting. I've got 3 children in that 16 to 25-year-old age bracket, and that means, if you look at the stats, one of those might end up with a mental health condition. And 10 years ago, it was something we probably weren't that in the detail with, but today we have the resources around us to get in there and to provide the support to our peers, our partners and our family on getting the best version of themselves and just looking after them.
And then have you seen a big increase of that, like over the years, like in terms of like from a business point of view, are you seeing like more and more people that are now coming forward?
A lot more coming forward. I still think there's a stigma there where people don't feel like they can, especially in a male-dominated industry and the typical tough truck driver sort of framework. But what we try and do is just create the resources to our team, let them know that there is people to support. I'm not a subject matter expert, you're not a subject matter expert, but it's about making sure that we have a subject matter expert team behind us. So we've got our employee assistance program with Working Life that's available, and then with the financial side of things with Picture Wealth, who look after the financial services for our employees, looking at making sure that they've got control over their financial background, because we know that doesn't just have to be physical, mental, to get anxiety, to get depression, to get all these other challenges that build up on you, it can come from any different sort of framework. So we try and provide the resources around to support that.
And that one is a really big one, isn't it now, the financial side of things? I think with having access to a really great EAP, it's not just about the mental health side of it. It's, in the financial stress, it's either way. It's giving, again, and we keep on talking about this as well, giving people more tools in their kit bag so that they feel, you can navigate through any situation.
Yeah, correct. You never know, cost of living in Australia at the moment is at all-time highs. Our guys are working big hours and they're away from home. A lot of people are away earning a crust, but then all of a sudden they get to the end of the week or the end of the month and they haven't got a lot left over, and they struggle to realise, well, I'm doing all this hard work and there's no financial reward for me, so to speak. Why? What we try and do is provide the resources so you can actually understand the whys, whether that be why do I feel like I am, and get the mental health support and the assistance through the EAP, or it could be why I've got no money left in my bank account, why is my mortgage taking up so much money, why is those interest rates impacting me so much, etc., which we use financial platform like Picture Wealth to try and help us out there. It's you spoke this morning around about having a toolkit there, so we give our drivers the resources, when they go away to do their job. My role is as I don't call myself the managing director in the business, I call myself the resource provider, and my job is to make sure every team in the business has the right tools in their kit bag to go and do the job as successful as they possibly can, to the highest possible standards. And then how do we bring that back to our own personal lives? What tools do you need in your kit bag to get the best version of yourself?
And I think that's probably one of the big things that we kept talking about today. It's all these little things that just make a really big difference to where you can end up. You know what I mean? So we're not, and I know there's things that we talk about with the 5 pillars. I know that you guys have got the 5 pillars. What are in your 5 pillars again?
Discipline, accountability, honesty, loyalty, and pride. And I guess that, if you align them, they're generalised sort of words, and we have dumbed them down a little bit, but it's about making sure we can align to them.
Yeah.
So discipline for us in the workplace is very different to what it is for you personally, but it's relevant. So have you got the right discipline to do the right thing? Whether that's from a physical point of view, am I doing my, what I tell you to do, 10,000 steps a day? Okay, not many of us are doing that, but am I being active? Am I checking up on myself and being relevant to looking after my personal health? Same thing with your mental health. What am I doing? Do I do meditation? Do I do breathing techniques? Do I have half an hour where I'm not on a phone or an email, or just having some Zen time just to chill out? How am I thinking about looking after myself?
And that's the thing that's it's interesting. You heard me talk about those examples this morning. When they come in here, or anyone listening out there at K-Trans, I bet you they'd have a process out in the warehouse about how you do certain things, or in the office, but we don't have that same process or checklist for ourselves.
Correct.
So that's a really powerful way of explaining it to people. You go, well, hang on, you've got a process for everything that you come in and do work, and without it being too onerous, but you wanted to do it a certain way.
Yep.
Take some time out and create your own checklist of what you need, not to just get by, but to thrive. You know what I mean? And whether that it could be just 1 or 2 things that you can focus on, as we said, that can make a really big difference to where you're going to end up.
Yep. Well, continual improvement is the buzzword, right? And when you run a business, that's what we all talk about, is how do we get better every single day that we come to work? What are we doing? What KPIs are we looking at? What dashboards are we looking at to see, are we driving our trucks better? Are we getting better fuel economy? Our maintenance standards, are they getting better? When it gets into the operations, are we following our processes and our turnaround times on consignments and defaults and all these other big buzzwords on continual improvement, how we measure ourselves? But when it gets to you personally, what are we doing about it? What can we do that aligns similar? We spend 1/3 of our lives in the workplace. When we got our time to ourselves, what are we doing to be the best version of ourselves? Now, I'm not saying that we should all have a KPI on ourselves and continual improvement, but it's just little micro steps, right, of how you can look after yourself better. And it might mean that for the first week, you're doing a 15-minute walk every second day or every third day. But every day, if you go from 15 minutes every third day to 15 minutes every second day, or 20 minutes every third day, then you're seeing that improvement and you feel a lot better about yourself, both physically and mentally, by doing that.
And with those habits, I think we worked it out that roughly, 300 people work at K-Trans.
Yep.
And we said, right, every day if someone said, I'll do one thing extra, like where I look after myself, or even I'm going to do something for someone else, you do that across the year, it's nearly 10,000 things.
Yeah.
That's going to give you every chance, or the organisation, that becomes a bigger picture than just looking after yourself. But you talk about trying to achieve what success looks like.
Yeah.
It's not, if you said, right, if I started at the number 10,000, it gets scary.
It does.
But when you just say, right, it's one thing every day times out across the year, that's what it ends up being.
Yeah, and you can bring that back to your personal life too, right? Like, we're a family business, so for us it's about making sure you're not just the best version of yourself, but you're the best version of yourself for your family. And when we spoke around the team today, 98% of people that come to work, the number one thing is their highest priority is looking after themselves for their family. But we see that people will go and do something traditionally reactively, right? And we've got some examples there of, people that got lung cancer and all of a sudden they gave up smoking, or they have a heart attack and then stopped eating the fried foods, and then tried to lose some weight post-event. I think the doctor came and said to them, your cholesterol's through the roof, now you need to go and start doing something about that, known about it for a long, long time. So what we're trying to do in our business is we're talking about what we do reactively, lessons learning after we have an incident, lessons learning after something's gone wrong. Let's talk to each other about what can we do differently. And we've just rolled something out here, like the Take 5 process, and the process there is about looking out for our peers. What aren't we doing perfectly? What could be a potential risk? What could we do better today so we don't have an event? It's the same thing with you in your personal life. What can I do today so that I don't go and have a heart attack, so I don't get lung cancer, so I'm available for my family. Because if 98% of us are saying that's what we're here for, what are we doing to show that we're being real about that?
Well, that's what was interesting. You saw the stats that I put up, that I said, right, everyone values their health and everyone nods their head. But then that was some of the stats that I put up on the board about, I think it's less 0.69 of your life was all that people would allocate to exercise.
Yeah.
0.69. So again, we're not saying you need to go to the gym, but you can't say you're prioritising it when no one makes any time for it.
Yeah.
And the examples that you said, they happen way too often where they have to have the scare, the ultimate, you don't want the ultimate scare to actually have to get your ass into gear to get moving.
Yeah, and that's achievable with physical health. You have that scare and then you're going to do it, but I guess the psychosocial, the mental health doesn't normally get to an event before you do something about it. You feel it, you can feel it building, right? And those numbers that are in society now are quite scary. So I guess what we're trying to do and highlight today is the little checks and balances you can do, the 1% improvements you can make on a daily basis that allow you to be the best version of yourself as you go on a journey, not get to a point when the world's crashing down on you and you feel like you're in a big dark room thinking, I've got nowhere to go, I better ask for help and hopefully make that call. But let's talk about it, let's be real and going, I'm going to have some shit days, but if I'm having more of them and the world is starting to feel like it's overpowering us, what can I do about it? And I guess we've got the EAPs in place here. And it's not also just about you, it's also about your family. Okay, so like I said, we're a family business. The success of us comes down to how well you're supported by your family and how well you can support your family. So that's not just financial supporting your family, but having the tools, the things that we've been talking about here today, take them back to your family and say, right, are you okay? Are you physically okay, mentally okay, financially okay? Talk about things rather than letting it just build up, but making the little improvements on a daily basis so you can actually continue on this journey and enjoy life.
And then what we'll do, I know that we'd spoken about like the 5 pillars, and when we talk about like from Walk With Me, what we'll do, we can do a condensed version and give people some ideas about the things I know that we keep talking about. We'll give them ideas about all these different habits and things you can put in place that you can be proactive. There's no telling people to be proactive, we're not telling them here's a bit of the how, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That, like I know some of the ones just quickly going over, these are the pillars that I end up presenting with Walk With Me about movement, input, connection, reset and habits, and they're all relevant for, it doesn't matter what facet of K-Trans that you're in, whether you're in the office or whether you're out there in the wear, like it's going into the hot time of year. One of the ones is input, you want to make sure you're hydrated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's going to get hard, it's hard yards, but there was enough, look, I think whenever we talk about those, I think some of the ones that nearly jump out to me, it's just, well, even just some of the habits that you can try and do. Like if you can create some really good habits, now we're not saying it has to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things. It could be just 1 or 2 things on a regular basis that you guys can do, and we'll give them a number of ideas. But were there any that jumped off the page for you that, even though you'd heard me talk about it before, what were the ones that resonated for you in that?
Oh, I think all of them did, to be honest. But again, they weren't groundbreaking things, right? It's just get moving. So for us, in the workplace, or you work, a lot of our guys are working big hours, and I guess after doing a 12, 13, 14-hour day, the last thing you feel like doing is going home, going to the gym, right? You cook, you go home, you'll either grab some fast food on the way home because you're running out of time, and you've got those other pressures going through. I guess it's the consistency and to do it.
Yeah.
It's the consistency to prepare, like to get the best out of yourself. You've got to prepare, right? And maybe give us some examples, like as an elite AFL athlete, what we talk about in business and what we share with the team today with Walk With Me. How does that align with being an elite AFL athlete, where you still have the challenges if you don't look after yourself, both mentally and physically, where it can compound?
Well, it's probably, for me, it's the structure and the routine. Like whenever you get out of, that's why COVID was so hard for a lot of people, I suppose, because their structure and routine was gone. Like even that ability to go to work and go to school and have all these things, and that's again, these were the good things that maybe come out of it, the lessons learned. That
You lost your connection, please.
well, you do. You lose your connection. You lose your habits, your routine, and your structure. That's what probably happens with a lot of athletes when they actually do finish playing sport, like because you've taken away their structure and routine. They didn't have to think about it, and it's maybe some of that where a lot of people's lives, as you said, are geared around work. All that we're trying to do is, okay, how can we give them more structure everywhere? So if it's like the wheel, they've got more balance in the wheel.
Yeah.
Like you don't want people that are just all work because they're going to get burnt out. But I always sort of come back to that about the structure and your habits. And even I actually said that to someone today. I'm like, I'll bet you if I ask you how to get back to your house, you've got a loose idea in your head. Well, then why not having some sort of plan at the start of every week about, well, these are the things I need to operate at my best. You'd have that with all your guys in here. They'd have to know their diaries, their plan and everything.
Yeah.
Well, if you do it from a work point of view, why can't take some time out and do it for yourself?
Yeah. And that's the challenge, isn't it? Is that we don't honestly often enough consider ourselves. We're always worried about everyone else around us. We're worried about the workplace. I've got a job to do. Oh, I've got to go there and I've got to follow these different processes. Oh, I've got to look after the family. I've got to drive around to kids' sport all weekend or whatever it might be. Oh, I've got to make sure I'm doing this for the wife. But how many of us are actually sitting down and going, what do I need to do about myself to be the best version of myself so I can achieve at a high level? Like AFL industry is a high performance industry. We try and run K-Trans as a high performance business as well. So the same comms that we're having with our leadership team and flowing through the business is how do we be the best version of ourselves, whether it be KPIs, etc. But you've got to have a plan to do that. It doesn't just happen. So when we come to work, we're structured. We have a look at how we're going to do things. We put targets of where we want to be in a month's time, 2 months' time, little checks and balances that we need to do to see whether we're being successful. But none of us do it personally. And I guess that's the challenge, is how are you going to be the best performing individual if you don't hold yourself accountable and put some framework around that to get to that point.
Yeah. Now, I know we could end up talking all day, mate.
Yeah.
So, but no, look, I think for everyone out there, and I'll let you have the final word, but I'll say a few from my end. Look, you're in a very fortunate situation that all the people listening out there in K-Trans, I think you're incredibly lucky. Use the resources that you got. I know we keep on mentioning about that. Get more tools in your kit bag. And I always usually end up saying this, we don't want to just get by in life. We want to thrive in any situation. So at least if you can take some time out, utilise the resources that you've got a fantastic EAP. And again, that can cover anything. That's not just about your physical and mental fitness. It could help your financial fitness. Whatever it is, don't run silly stories in your head, because often, they're not silly, but you know what I mean? Chat with people, get the silly stuff out of your head, and go and have a chat with someone. But make sure you utilise what you've got at your disposal, but full credit that you've actually got a really good process.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Like for us, no one's perfect, right? And a lot of our guys have got a lot of time driving, chasing that white line, going up and down the road, very isolated and a lot of thinking time. Make sure you're sharing that. So if there are things that are overpowering you or you're starting to get into a dark headspace, make sure you're talking to people about it. And that doesn't need to be just your supervisor, it doesn't need to be just your wife or your partner. It can be the support people that are out there that are trained for this. And I guess it's okay not to be okay as well. Right? I think everyone's so worried about the stigma of I've got to be tough and bravado. That's not what it's about. It's okay to have bad days, but having too many of those bad days, do something about it. Use the little resources that we've spoken about today, but the things that we try and implement within the business to be the best version of yourself. And look after your family, look after your peers. I gave some pretty powerful examples today where, after an event, people are going reviewing a safety incident. After an event, they'll go and go, right, well, someone's just had a serious injury, a fatality that goes off in a workplace. What could we have done differently to stop that? For us, whether it be in business or whether it be in your